Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on youtube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now, leave any comments in the comments section. Please like and share the video as well. This is Ask SCW episode 6 for you right here, right now on YouTube. You can get questions through to me on twitter.com, SCW WrestlingChannel, which of course is at SCW with capital letters _ Steve. The Steve has a capital S. You can ask questions to me on there with hashtag AskSCW, and as well you can also leave a question in the comment section on this particular video as well. Very exciting, lots of questions to get through on today's video, and as well as that, many different companies going to go through as well. WWE, we're going to be talking about as well the NXT brand of it going to the USA Network, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and as well as that Ring of Honor. So lots in store for you on this particular video, lots of questions as well. Make sure to follow the guys on Twitter as well, ask the questions, and do thank everyone that gets involved. So without further ado, here's the first question this week for Ask SCW. It comes from Michael Gevidon, who asks, what do you think WWE will do for the first night of NXT on USA? Surprises, crossovers, etc. Well, great question, and yeah, I mean, it's going to be very vital of a way that WWE kickstarts the NXT era on the USA Network. Of course, it's going to be on TV. We'll be back on the WWE Network the next day, but of course, this is the big lights, the big screen, more exposure, more homes NXT will be able to go through to, and will perhaps make these guys even bigger, more legitimate stars than perhaps they already are, because of course, there's only so many people that have subscriptions for the WWE Network, but more people will have access to NXT now in their homes without having to have the network. So for that purpose, it's going to make these stars a lot bigger. And the way to make a big show, first off, is to perhaps use some of the more well-named roster talents and bring them to this show. So when we say the idea of crossovers and surprises, I think it would make a lot of sense to perhaps bring a few of the main roster guys down to the show. Maybe they can make cameos, maybe like a promo, maybe a few guys are sitting in the audience like we see at a takeover, just to give that importance feel that like this guy is here, like, you know, Samoa Joe is here, oh my god, Shinsuke Nakamura's come back as well, you know, we've got Becky Lynch, I mean that would be a great shout, Charlotte Flair, those sort of people there would be really good to have. Sami Zayn would be another shout as well. To have those people in the audience or to have some sort of cameo in the show, I think would make things feel like a bigger deal. You could have Seth Rollins as well, of course, Universal Champion at the moment. It would make a lot of sense to have those guys there. Roman Reigns as well has been through NXT. So many of the current WWE superstars have now gone through NXT, so it would be good to use that for that capacity. You could have one or two make surprises for matches as well. Maybe if an announce a big match, you could have Adam Cole, your NXT champion, against a main roster superstar. That would make a lot of sense to do that. So it would be a good way as well to put Adam Cole over as the champion if you could go over the main roster talent as well. So that would be one of a few ideas you could do with the crossover. Surprises, maybe you could have a big debut, maybe a title change would be a good place to do it. Maybe depending on what championships, what champions are at the time. I've not read the spoilers for NXT, but I know there is a championship, I think, due to the change on TV in the next couple of weeks. You could have one of the other championships change on the first night. It gives people that excitement, that investment straight away. And of course, the next takeover, War Games, put a big storyline in, put that first seed in there. That would be a great move to do, to then make sure that people go, God, I need to see this takeover. I need to see the next episode that takes us for the next part of the storyline for that takeover. And I think those are the things that are necessary to get NXT on USA off to a big, good start. They've got a couple of weeks ahead of AEW as well, because the Wednesday Night War, believe me, is well and truly on. And WWE, they're doing what they can to pull out all the stops here to make sure that they will be the ones on top here with NXT. And I mean, it is exciting for the NXT brand, so we'll have to wait and see how and what way they're going to utilise it. But I do believe that they are going to make a big deal out of this, and I think that the first show is going to be something big. It'll be interesting to see if they do any of those ideas I've suggested, or if they've got one or two other tricks up their sleeve. But it's not the only NXT question we've got for us today. The next one comes from Black Wolf Studio. Do you think that NXT will still be able to produce great matches after it goes to the USA Network? I think a great question and a great point as well, because now it's under live TV. They're not going to be pre-recorded shows anymore. And with NXT right now on the network, we're used to having an hour straight. The matches are not interrupted, or if they are, it's very occasional. But now we've got the USA Network, which is going to have advertisements probably every 10 to 15 minutes in the show. So we're going to have matches now that are going to be interrupted. So we could expect to start seeing maybe some of the main roster tricks where we're going to see, maybe like a suicide dive through the ropes within two minutes of the match. We're going to go to ad breaks. We're going to come back. Then the heel has got the chin lock on famously. So, I mean, there are some things that could make, less great TV from a match standpoint. But at the same time, I mean, NXT, they do put on great matches. And, when we see them on takeovers, when the superstars come to the main roster, they're more than ready. And I do have belief that we're still going to get some great matches. I do feel it's going to be a bit of a damper with advertisements interrupting. But I do expect NXT to still put out the same good quality when it comes to match types. Because the guys can go in the ring. I suppose there would be more pressure when you look at things, especially from the fact that now they are going to have, like we say, the live TV. They're not going to have where if they make a mistake that they can almost record it again, or they can cut out a small part of a match or something like this. There is going to be live, and what happens on the night happens. But, I mean, what better way than get a superstar ready for the main roster than to actually put them under the pressures of what they get on live TV? And now they're going to be doing it in developmental as well. It's just going to make superstars have to raise the game, and from strength to strength, the cream, it always rises to the top. So I think it's going to be good. I can't see some bad things coming out. I still expect to see great matches still on NXT TV. Another question as well from NXT. We've got Smark Button Toy, who asks, should NXT talent get an increase in salary with the move to USA? Well, I don't see that being a reason why it couldn't. I mean, that's more money being given to WWE. There was a lot of rumours for a long time that it was going to go to FS1 on the Fox network, but USA is now the destination. Maybe there was a bidding war here to get NXT on national television. So, I mean, WWE are getting a lot of money from a lot of the deals they've got anyway. Of course, a new deal set for Raw. Fox is going to get SmackDown. There's a lot of money gone into that. They've got the shows in Saudi Arabia. And of course there is actually some new deals been set as well in the United Kingdom as well that are going to kick in from 2020. They're going to go from Sky Sports to BT Sports. So there's a lot of change on the television deals, and I'm guessing there will be improvements financially, particularly, I mean, the American markets, I expect especially, and of course the Saudi shows as well. Are probably where they're going to make a lot of the big money. But of course, with this NXT coming in, more money coming into to WWE as a company, why not? I mean, it's going to keep guys happy. And, when you look at these sort of indie guys on the market that are not gone to WWE, they've not gone to AEW yet. There's a lot more leverage now for WWE just to throw big money out there to stop all this talent going to other companies like an AEW. And, I can see the guys on the salaries in NXT, I can see them going up, and they could almost get main roster money. It wouldn't surprise me, particularly if they're perhaps bigger superstars than NXT. The guys that are still really kind of, trying to get through and break through to get some TV exposure, those guys maybe at the start, maybe not so much, but maybe as time wears on. I can see everyone in WWE making good money. It seems to be a very healthy time financially if you are a professional wrestler looking to make a living, because a lot of companies out there are willing to throw the big bucks. We have got another question from NXT here, and this one comes from Dylan Ketchum, and he asks, when NXT moves to the USA Network, do you think that NXT will die in the hands of Vince McMahon? Well, a lot of rumours are suggesting, if you read the dirt sheets, so particularly like Ringside News, No DQ, they're suggesting Vince McMahon may not be so much involved. Now, from a production standpoint, perhaps it maybe might get a little bit more hands-on. Kevin Dunn perhaps could be involved in that a little bit. I mean, Dave Meltzer said that would be inevitable, but I mean, it's going to still be at full sale. So rumours are saying that Vince has got a lot more He's got his sights really focused on the XFL, which is coming back, I believe, next year. I've not really kept too much up to date with the XFL. Being British, it's not really my cup of tea, to be honest. But from the wrestling standpoint, if Vince is going to actually keep his eyes more on that, there has been rumours suggesting as well that maybe he may come away from as well the main roster. He's not involved as many Raws and as many SmackDowns. So I kind of have this hope he's not going to be as involved with NXT, because NXT currently is something that is an alternative within WWE. A lot of the hardcore fans love the style, love the way that NXT is presented, and I don't want to see that change, and I don't think it's going to change. And I'm saying this as a hopeful fan because, I like NXT as it is, and of course now the show is going to be longer as well, something that I've not really touched on in this video yet. It's going to be a 2-hour show. This is going to be good for a lot of the NXT talents, because there's a lot of talent that doesn't get TV time. There's a lot of talent that when it comes to takeovers, they get left out. They're going to get more opportunity to be on TV more often, and to get themselves more over. Now, of course, they may be perhaps more exposed. We are used to seeing guys now once every couple of weeks on NXT TV, unless you're one of the real big stars. But for guys like a Mansoor, Keith Lee, they're not on TV every single week, and this is going to give them a chance to be on TV more weeks than not. They're not going to have spells where they're not around for a while, and I think that's going to be good. They've got a strong amount of talent all throughout NXT, and we not even mentioned NXT UK. There could be a couple of cameos involved on that from time to time as well. That would be a clever marketing move, in my opinion, from WWE to do that, because if you could get people to see these guys from NXT UK as well, that would encourage them to go to the network and see those guys. Maybe like a Tyler Bate, a Trent Seven, a Walter. You've got guys there. You've got guys in the undercard as well, and you've got, of course, the female roster, Toni Storm, Rhea Ripley in there as well. So there's a lot of talent in NXT UK, and they should really try and make the audience there from public go, I like NXT, and I've seen one of these two guys from NXT UK. I need to go and see that as well. It could be a good excuse to go and check out the network. We've got the next question now, and this is from the concierge. And of course, another NXT question, but I've sort of covered that with Vince McMahon. And as I said, I don't think he's going to ruin NXT from this standpoint. But going from the other question that is on here, who are your best and worst picks for King of the Ring? And do I think that the rope should be utilised once again? Well, from best picks of King of the Ring, of course, the tournament's already started this week. Someone like Drew McIntyre probably doesn't really need it, but at the same time, it would give him those 1 or 2 big wins, and it would kind of solidify himself as a main eventer. So for him, that would make a lot of sense to have that. But for looking at like best and worst picks, especially if you asked the question about utilising the King of the Ring, the robe there, someone actually take on the King gimmick, which we do get some of the time, and I don't think it suits most of the roster that is currently in there unless they have a big gimmick change. There is 1 or 2 that I do think would fit with a robe. One of them being Baron Corbin, which I know is probably going to get the thumbs down immediately on this particular video. But Baron Corbin is someone right now who, in my opinion, has got the heel work pretty well nailed down. I think he does actually give all effort into his characters that he's given. He had the general manager role last year, which did fail, but I think he improved massively under it, and got a lot of heel heat. Some said it was go away heat, but for me it was heel heat. And to give him the King of the Ring and to give him that robe, the problem with it is that he would have to be given a major push again. But at the same time, I do think that he would have a lot of fun with the gimmick and with the robe. And I do think, in a weird way, it could be entertaining, and I think it could kind of work. I don't think Baron Corbin is going to win the King of the Ring, but if you're going for a best pick with the robe, I think he would be a good shout. I think other shouts for that with the robe as well, Andrade would be kind of good. Selena Vega could be involved as like a Queen of the Ring. We know who the real queen is in Andrade's eyes, but they could still kind of make that on storyline. It would work kind of well there with Andrade. It would give him a little bit more to his character. Because at the moment he's just kind of got that great in-ring Mexican wrestler, and Zelina Vega does a lot of the talking on the mic for him. But just for that little sort of change of character with that robe there, Mexican royalty, it really could kind of work for Andrade as well. And I think he is a real dark horse, and he's got, in my opinion, a clear path to the semi-final. With Kevin Owens already being out of the King of the Ring, I think he's a good shout to get to the final, and I think he could even win it. He is who I initially wanted to win King of the Ring, but I wasn't sure if WWE was going to put all their faith in him to actually win it. But seeing what's happened this past week on SmackDown, I'm starting to believe Andrade could actually make the final at the next pay-per-view at Clash of Champions. We'll have to wait and see. As for worst picks, well, I mean, looking at this is the number of people that could be a worst pick. But for me, really, a Cedric Alexander would be one of the worst picks, because I believe he's he's already through to the next round. I feel there was a chance he could make the I'm trying to think if it's the quarter or the semi-finals. It'd be the semi-final. But I just hope he doesn't get there and it doesn't win the King of the Ring. I'm not sure that he is ready for that role at the minute. He's broke through on Raw, but I think he needs to go a bit further before he can have such a big victory and become King of the Ring. I think that you need to earn that, and I think there's a number of guys there which are not top guys, and they're not even mid-card guys. Chad Gable, it would be good for him to get a breakthrough moment. Shelton Benjamin, a breakthrough moment once again on this sort of stay in WWE. But at the same time, I just kind of feel that these superstars, I feel, would be King of the Ring, and then they would end up jobbing within 2 or 3 months' time. And for me, I want to see the King of the Ring mean something on this, especially this first time. You're bringing it back, hoping it's become a yearly thing again. I want to see the right person given the King of the Ring. I want to see him push on and at least be in the World Championship picture. You maybe not necessarily have to win it, but certainly would help them with the momentum and hopefully would push them towards becoming King of the Ring. So for best picks for me to win King of the Ring, I think Drew McIntyre is a great pick to win it. Ricochet, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see from a face standpoint, but I would prefer to see a heel. Andrade is who I deep down would want to win it. And to finish it off, I think Baron Corbin would be a good shout. Samoa Joe is still there as well. I think he would benefit from it a lot, but I'm not so sure if Joe's going to go all the way. They seem to always have this thing with Samoa Joe where he is the big bad wolf. He gets so far, but he never takes the big win. And I just have this feeling that, unfortunately, even in the King of the Ring, the same thing is going to happen again. Our next question comes from Armchair Wrestling. Any surprises or debut you think AEW may have sorted for their first episode, which I'm guessing is when they're on TNT. Now, of course, we talked a lot about earlier on the NXT and how that's going to be on USA. Well, of course, AEW are going to be on TNT, and they're going to have to come up with the blocks as well. They're going to need to do what they need to do to get some big storylines in, nice surprises. Well, we know Chris Jericho is meant to be involved in, I believe, a 6-man tag team match, and I believe that he is meant to have 2 mystery tag team partners. So my feeling is that this would be a great place to debut a new tag team or 2 big single stars. Or even like maybe a little stable would be kind of cool as well. But I've got this feeling that LAX could be that mystery tag team partnership, because their contracts are up at Impact Wrestling, and I kind of got a feeling that they could go to NXT and WWE. I think there's a great spot for them there, but I wouldn't be surprised if AEW has gone in and got these guys in, because I just have this belief that they will do really well as well, a part of the AEW roster. You've got then the matches there with like the Lucha Brothers, the Young Bucks, Best Friends. There were some tag teams there already. That was a real strong tag team division, and I know AEW wants to really focus on that. So I would expect them to be a surprise in there. Of course, the biggest surprise that you could do is to really get the free agents out there. Someone like a CM Punk would be out of this world for a talking point. I mean, that the internet would blow up. Whether people are positive or negative about it, if CM Punk was to be ever involved with AEW, and I've mentioned this on previous episodes of this before, it would put all eyes and ears on AEW, and it would just be a thing that wouldn't even have to compete in the ring. Just to show up on one of their shows, I think would be enough to just get a lot of eyes and a lot of people to say, I'm checking this out and I'm going to see what this is all about. And I think that would be a really big thing for AEW. But of course, for that, a big surprise is on that perhaps standpoint, yes. I don't think that it's going to be such like a Monday night, or in this case a Wednesday night war, where we're going to see loads of people flit backwards and forwards from shows and break contracts and stuff like that. I would be surprised if we saw much of that in the modern day. But good storylines, and try and get something that's going to capture people, make them need to come back for the next week. If they can do that, I think that then they've definitely got a shout of building some momentum. And I really do think we have got the alternative here in pro wrestling. I do think AEW are going to do a good thing here, and they're going to get people involved and passionate about wrestling. People who have come away from WWE reluctant to go back in, they'll probably give this a chance. And I think that for that, it's great for pro wrestling, and it's great for the workers as well, because they need to do that. But before I move on to the next question, we say about surprises and superstars that people in store they could have. One I would really love to see, just from a standpoint, as I'm a big fan of their work, I would love to see Killer Cross come in. Again, formerly been with Impact Wrestling. I know he's been involved with AAA as well. I just think that this guy has got main event written all over him. He's very intense. He's got a kind of psycho feel about him. You really feel every promo this guy says. I think he's got that feeling of being a monster. He's a lot bigger than a lot of the guys that AEW have actually employed. They've got a lot of smaller guys, so he would actually really stand out as like a big guy, threatening menace, a heel, and perhaps even bring Scarlett Bordeaux in as a sidekick for him, and she can do, you know, some wrestling in the women's division as well. That as a duo would be really interesting to see. I would really love to see that. So that's sort of a surprise I would like to see, that's under the sleeve, perhaps not expected, but I think that maybe not make the biggest biggest headlines by him coming in, but I think that he would do such good work that he would actually invest the people that would go in to watch AEW and bring them back to watch again. I think he's destined for the top one way or another. Killer Cross one day is going to be a world champion of one of these major companies, whether it be AEW or WWE. I just have faith in the guy. I think he literally is the future of pro wrestling. He's that good. Our next question comes from Samuel Decius. There's a rumour about Sting versus Taker. If this is true, what's your take on it? Should this match happen, or should they put a stop to it? Well, it's a great question, and I've done talking points about this for a couple of years ago when I've done this on my channel in old school terms, talking about Sting versus The Undertaker. Now, it's a dream match. It's a match I want to see, but I mean, when we go for the Saudi Arabia shows, and that's probably more likely where this show is going to take place if this match is ever going to happen. Sting has been retired. He has had a bad neck. I'm not even sure if he'd be cleared for the match. If it was to happen, the thing for me that makes this match want to happen is the build-up. It's not really the match itself. So I'm going to be honest and say the match is going to be horrible, because the guys probably need a younger talent to probably, carry them through. And that's not to be horrible to them, but this is a match that if it was going to take place, the latest it should have taken place was 2011, when there was rumours that Sting was coming to WWE, but he didn't. He actually re-signed at the time to TNA, to Impact Wrestling. And that was the time. That was the time we should have had it. And if there was going to be another time, of course, WrestleMania 31, when Sting actually did join WWE, of course, he faced Triple H instead. So, and then never came to fruition. Of course, then we had the injury with Seth Rollins, and that match never took place. But I would love to see it happen purely for the build-up. I just kind of have this feeling that these two with the darkness, I mean, I'm not sure if we can get Sting up in the rafters, but to have that with those two, the promo work as well, I just think it would be great television leading up. And I think we're getting better with WWE television, but not always. When we look back in the old school times, like the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression, and other times, the build-up was sometimes a lot better than what we got for the match on pay-per-view. And that's what kind of makes me feel that this would still kind of be worth it, as long as the guys were healthy and good to go and didn't get hurt from it. I'd be very much in favour of seeing that match. But one thing I would say is if Sting is not cleared and they wanted to do this, and I've done this on a previous video in the past as something that I would like to see with these two, is that why not have them have a representative, that they have someone that they feel, of course they have to be like dark and mystic characters, which of course in the modern terms of WWE, we're looking at the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, but perhaps not a Bray Wyatt. We're looking at these guys are two faces unless one of them takes a full-on heel role. it would be interesting to see them try and sort of bring an up-and-coming talent and build them up. Maybe they can do that sort of work. But we had like representatives for, and probably not the best example here, but for Vince McMahon and Donald Trump back at WrestleMania 23. That was to build up Bobby Lashley and Umaga, two guys that were not really, household names to that big degree of where everyone got at WrestleMania, that this is a marquee match that people will be excited for. People were excited for, is Vince McMahon or Donald Trump going to get their head shaved? That was what people were invested in. They put Steve Austin as the referee. They put all that around it to try and build these two guys up. And at the end of it, Bobby Lashley got the win. And there was a point going forward in 2007 where Bobby Lashley had a lot of momentum. And then he faced John Cena. And then he lost. And then I think he got injured. And then after that, everything kind of faded away and he left the company. But, I mean, you look at that from this standpoint. And, of course, Undertaker's a tall dude. I'm not sure who they could get to represent them that would look with the credibility. But you could say a Demon Finn Balor on a return for one side would be really good. I'm not quite sure who the other person would be at this particular moment. But for a representative point of view, it would be good for that newer talent to elevate them to a big part of the stage. Because if the Undertaker and Sting have some sort of disagreement or some sort of we think this person's good or for this person from the dark side is coming over and this, it could work, but maybe it's a dream a bit far-fetched. But from a match standpoint, I don't think it'll be the best, but I really want to see a build-up towards it. So whatever happens, I'm kind of hoping it happens. Next question is from Dow Porter. Do you think it's time for a New Day heel turn? It's kind of played out, and Big E makes a greater heel. Team him up with Lashley, and we've created something awesome. Well, in one way, I kind of agree with that. I think, if rather than actually a tag team, I mean, WWE's not taking their tag team seriously, but I mean, if you had like the two single stars that come together for a common bond, I think Big E and Lashley would be quite a credible duo in that in a heel kind of format. I mean, you've got to look at like sort of Rated RKO back in the sort of Ruthless Aggression sort of times, and of course DX at one point was just Triple H and Shawn Michaels. It could kind of work in that way. But, I mean, for me, we're going to focus in mainly on the New Day. And I kind of would like to see that happen at some stage. We had a question from Armchair Wrestling, and they had a great theory on their latest podcast, which I do recommend. Go and check them out, by the way. It's on Spotify. So Armchair Wrestling, the podcast on there. And they were suggesting an idea of a slow building New Day heel turn, maybe even something that at first there's like competition between these guys, say Kofi and Big E. Big E wins like a battle royal, and then this way it leads to him and Kofi, they have a match, they get on, Big E's the new champion, everything seems fine, and then the tension kind of slowly creeps in, and then you can build it out over a long period of time. I thought it was a great idea, so I'm going to share that on this video as well. So shout out to Armchair Wrestling for that. I think it's a great idea for that. For me, I would like to see it, and I've suggested it for, I think even since WrestleMania, I've suggested that Big E would turn heel at some stage on Kofi, and either cost him becoming the champion or, cost him the championship. I mean, it is a natural thing that perhaps should happen. My only feeling is that even though it may feel like it's time for it, I don't think it's going to happen. The New Day seem to sell a lot of merchandise in WWE. They seem to be very much over with a lot of the fans, and especially the younger audience seem to really like the New Day. And I just have this feeling that Big E, he's a bit out there, and I just kind of feel like a lot of kids and that they really like the New Day. I just don't think that they're going to turn him heel because they don't need to. They really don't need to, and that's, I think, why they're not going to do it. The act may feel stale to some people, and for me, at times, the act has been stale. I do feel in this particular moment, I'm okay with the New Day. I think because of the fact that Kofi's kind of broke out, and now it's more Xavier and Big E teaming up rather than Kofi involved in the tag team, which was the case a lot of the time in their title reigns before. So in that way, for me, it feels a little bit fresher to get Xavier Woods more in the ring, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, I can understand if people find it stale and they want to see a breakup. One day, I'd like to see a triple threat between these guys, and I would like to see it at WrestleMania, but I don't know if, when, how, but I'm sure if you get your wish one day, we might get that Big E heel turn. I think he would be the best shout to be the one to turn heel of the three of them. So I think it's a great suggestion of suggesting it's Big E that turns heel, because for me, Big E has just got the... He's the biggest guy. He's the monster, and I think that unless you were gonna have Kofi and Xavier both team up to become the heels, Big E's always going to be seen the dominant one. But I don't know. I'm a bit back and forth with the idea, to be brutally honest. I kind of want to see it happen, but I just don't believe in it these days in 2019 that they'll actually ever break the New Day up, because I kind of feel like if they were going to break them up, they could have done it maybe even 2 years ago. Random Sports has got a question in for us now, and in your eyes, is Braun Strowman ready for a title run? Does he have enough main event presence? Well, for me, Braun Strowman does have main event presence. He should have been a champion at least 2 years ago in WWE, my personal point of view. I think the time to pull the trigger, they could have pulled it at No Mercy when he faced Brock Lesnar for the first time then. They didn't. And I'm okay that they didn't do it then, but by WrestleMania 34, Braun Strowman should have been in the Universal Championship match, and he should have been champion. They didn't pull the trigger then. They had him team up with a 9-10-year-old boy called Nicholas and win the tag titles instead, which, okay, that's up to you. That's what you want to do. Fair enough. But then he went and continued on, and he won the Greatest Royal Rumble. He won the Money in the Bank. And then they kind of had this weird moment where they sort of turned him heel. They failed the cash-in. They put him in what felt like an awful stable at the time with really bad booking, and they killed a lot of momentum. It feels now that since he's not really recovered, he was in the final two of the Royal Rumble, and they now got him in a program with Seth Rollins many months later. They're now the tag team champions, which I'm not really a big fan of that either. I think that's been overplayed where they got the two competitors as tag team champions, but I think that will probably be a short-term reign. I do expect them to drop the belts before Clash of Champions and then probably to face each other on the event. But I think Braun Strowman has got the presence. Personally, against someone like Seth Rollins, I've said this many times before with Seth, I find it hard to suspend disbelief that Seth can beat Braun. But of course, in the way that WWE books things at the moment, Braun Strowman isn't quite there at this particular moment. There's been many times that he should have been. Right now, he just needs to be pushed a bit more and given a bit more momentum. Needs to be given just that little kick again, maybe a big win. It's almost a shame in one way he's not in the King of the Ring, because in that way, you know, King Braun could have carried on then and then become champion. He would have had that big significant victory or big significant thing that could push him to get into the championship picture. But he's in the championship picture now. It may seem that it's come out of nowhere because he wasn't even involved in SummerSlam, but we'll have to wait and see. He's definitely got the presence. He's definitely got everything that's needed to become a champion. It's just the fact that WWE unfortunately seems to be stopping and starting with him, turning him face, turning him heel. There is a fear if they keep doing this that he will become the modern day Big Show. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I've got another question here, and it's another NXT question, almost to a degree, but it is involved with the XFL, I should say, as well. It's from Craig Hermit. He says, do you think we will get more of a Triple H influence on the WWE product, not just NXT, if Vince focuses his attention on the XFL, or will Ryan Dunn, I think that's Kevin Dunn, will be given more control? Well, I mean, Kevin Dunn will probably have some influence on this, but I do think that the more Vince McMahon does sort of come away from WWE, however or whenever that will be, whether that's to focus on the XFL or, you know, if his time comes, then I do think Triple H is going to have a lot more influence. Is much going to change on the main roster? Well, we've seen strides taking place, an improvement in writing very recently. So I do think that we are going to get an improved WWE anyway. But what my feeling is that at the same time, we could get more of that influence of what we've seen in NXT in WWE. Maybe certain superstars that we want to get pushed will get pushed. Maybe that part will change. Maybe Triple H will listen to the audience more of who and what they want to see and who they want to see pushed. The problem they've got is they've got such a big roster that makes that very difficult to keep people satisfied anyway. They're oversaturated. The last thing they need to do, actually, is bring more people up from NXT right now, unless you're going to put people down to NXT. I mean, take EC3, for example. When's the last time you've seen him on TV? A great thing to do, and we keep mentioning going back to NXT, and a lot of this episode has been focused with NXT, and we saw that first question of what they could do. They could actually bring a few superstars down from the main roster in surprise moments over a number of weeks to bring people in, and they can be part of the NXT roster again, and maybe get themselves back over enough to get, when they get back on the main roster, that they have more of a successful stint on the main roster. Because, I mean, we've got guys right now that are just not getting any TV time at all. I actually think even the tag team division on NXT could do with one or two teams coming back down. Maybe the Authors of Pain could come back down. If they're not going to do anything with the Viking Raiders, well, bring them back down for the minute. I mean, look at that already. Authors of Pain versus the Viking Raiders. Tell me you don't want to see that on an NXT environment. I'm pretty sure most people would be a fan of that, would want to see that take place. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But I would like to think that over time, Triple H is going to gradually get even more influence in WWE. And we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out. But yeah, I mean, Vince McMahon, rumours suggest he's going to have a lot more focus on the XFL. Rumours suggest he's not been around at every Raw and every SmackDown, and may not when the XFL goes through. He's not apparently rumoured going to be involved with a lot of NXT. If that's true, then we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Triple H will get more control, and I think personally Triple H would be the right person to have that control. Next question comes from Get Show Wrestling Podcast. Who have you got for the Superjet Cup? Well, for me, I looked at the brackets, and there's a lot of credible names in there. The two names I'm going to go for. One, I mean, I actually am from the same place as Will Ospreay. I'm originally from Essex in England. So for me, it's always hard to back against the aerial assassin. I'm a big fan of his work as well. I think he's awesome. Dragon Lee is my other shout for this. My only feeling is that Will Ospreay has won a lot of things in New Japan Pro Wrestling. A lot of these sort of like, you know, these tournaments that they have. And I just think that to change pace, I'm going to go for Dragon Lee to win the whole thing. So my pick is Dragon Lee, but I wouldn't be surprised if Will Ospreay makes it to the end either. Last but not least, Slam Hub Wrestling has got the question here. What should Ring of Honor do to get back to its former glory? Now, this is a loaded question. It's a question really I think could be really take a while to answer here, really. But if we look at Ring of Honor right now, they just have lost so much momentum this calendar year. Even to the point that, I mean, I've been quite a big fan of Ring of Honor, been quite vocal about it. I actually am going to be brutally honest. Since Best in the World, I've not really paid too much attention to what's going on in Ring of Honor. Just because there's so much wrestling going on everywhere else, it's hard to keep an eye on every product going on. But the thing is, though, I just find that Ring of Honor has not done enough to keep my investment either. When they lost Cody, they lost the Young Bucks, Adam Page, you know, they lost a big hole in that roster because those guys were a big deal, and the Bullet Club was a big deal within Ring of Honor. Marty Scurll has gone on to Villain Enterprises, which is a cool stable. I do like it, but it's not quite what they had before. They've tried bringing in Lifeblood, who, in my opinion, it's not the same. It's just not connecting well. You know, you could argue that they have got a few bland wrestlers in this stable trying to push it. I like the idea of the message of trying to get Ring of Honor to this where, you know, it's all about the wrestling, but I just kind of feel that, I don't know, there's something missing. There's a lot of characters that are just missing. There's a lot of great wrestlers, but there's not enough people that want to keep you invested to have to see more. Bandito is a great wrestler. He's got a great look, but there are so many talented masked wrestlers out there that you can see on almost any given show what makes him stand out to the rest. Rouge is a great wrestler. I do like Rouge, but I mean, guys like him. I'm a really big fan of Jeff Cobb. I think Jeff Cobb has got the tools to be a big deal in one of the big companies in future times. I think AEW would be a great shout for him to go to, actually going forward when his contract expires from Ring of Honor. And I believe a lot of the newer talents that Ring of Honor signed, I could be wrong, was signed to 12-month deals, which means they might become free on the market come the end of the year. It almost feels like it's a building time for Ring of Honor, and they go through this quite a lot, really, because they lose talent quite a bit. WWE come in and took Kevin Steen, they took in, you know, Sami Zayn, they took in a lot of guys. Adam Cole left, so it's not uncommon for them to do that. But I think where they had guys like the Young Bucks and stuff, they kind of carried them through. At this particular moment, I just think Ring of Honor is just lacking. They almost just need to have one or two more stars in there. It's great they've still got Jay Lethal. They need to sort of use the guys like that to help carry and elevate the top of the card and build some of these new guys up. I think they've got a lot of talent that's kind of perhaps new to the Ring of Honor roster, and perhaps some of the guys that are not as over. I mean, when you look at, say, Lifeblood, a lot of those guys were signed in. Juice Robinson as well was involved with New Japan Pro Wrestling, not always involved with Ring of Honor. So I think that that's just a thing. It's just like a lot of new faces being thrown in at the same time. I look at the women's division. Kelly Klein, really good, but they let Tenille Dashwood go. She's gone to Impact Wrestling. I'm not a fan of the Allure. I mean, I didn't even think Velvet Sky and Angelina Love was still going really on in ring, and I'm not invested. There's just not enough to capture me. And then I think that they need to maybe try and sign one or two stars. They need to compete or try and compete. And this is the thing, it's hard. When AEW is out there as a secondary brand, what is the reason to go to Ring of Honor now? Because if you're not going to WWE, the best next step is not Ring of Honor anymore. It is AEW. And I think that is the thing that Ring of Honor are struggling with. Their attendances are really down at the moment. One thing that they can do, and it's been a theme I've said throughout the whole of this video, is to try and make something happen with the people you've got that's going to capture people to want to come back in. You're going to need someone to have a real breakout moment, a real big storyline. I mean, they've got Bully Ray there, who, I was a fan of some of his heel work last year. I did feel it's got a bit stale this year, but I mean, Bully knows how this works. He's been involved with wrestling through ECW, through WWE. He's had a lot of great creative minds around him. Needs to get something there that's going to capture people in there and really hone in and say, I need to watch Ring of Honor wrestling. If the word gets out, because the wrestling community are a passionate community, they do follow a lot of what's going on. Even if they're not watching everything consistently, they like to keep an eye on knowing what's going on with every product. Because why is it that when these guys come into NXT or aside for AEW and they've been in Ring of Honor, everyone's going crazy for them? People know these guys are. So at that point, it makes you think that they need to do something to just try and make sure that they can at least definitely be the third company that people keep an eye on. Because I even feel right now, even perhaps if you don't say from a television standpoint, I actually think if you look under AEW, and of course you've got, of course, WWE, NXT, a lot of people will look on New Japan before, and I know New Japan do work with Ring of Honor, but I mean, maybe they need to get more of those stars over. Maybe they need to try and get Naito to do a few more shows at the minute. It will bring a few more eyes back to that product. But I mean, even Impact Wrestling for me right now has got more going for it and more to keep me invested. They've got a great women's division. They've got some great talent at the top of the card throughout the X division. And that, I think, for me, if you're looking at, there's so much out there wrestling wise, I think as well that can be another reason that Ring of Honor is suffering. Because now, I mean, we've spoke through this video about, Raw is a long show. NXT is going to 2 hours. There's rumours SmackDown, we've not even covered, it's not a question on that this week, but SmackDown could go to 3 hours as well. I mean, that's 8 hours a week on just WWE with NXT alone. AEW going to be a 2-hour show. Impact Wrestling is a 2-hour show. Ring of Honor is a 1-hour show. There's so many. NXT UK as well is involved. There's so much wrestling, and that's not even putting pay-per-views in there. How can people put that time in? And if there's a company that at the moment people probably can miss out on, I'd say, judging on what's going on, I think Ring of Honor's the one. And that's not a good thing for that company. I know I've taken a long time to answer this last question, but to look at it and say, what can they do? I mean, they've either got hope that maybe when a big star leaves, maybe WWE say, I don't know, someone that's not been on TV for a while, maybe like Rusev, if he leaves, they've got to make a play and go for someone like that and get that person in. Or in the meantime, they've got to really just do something that's different to everybody else, stand out, make the good wrestling that they do, like they did in the old days. but also as that they just need something that's going to capture people in. And it's storylines that do it. You need to get a good storyline in there, something that gets people talking, saying that's going on down there, and one by one, fans will come back, fill those arenas again in Sam's Town or wherever they're going to do their shows, and they'll carry on from there. I mean, Ring of Honor, they've got money in them. You know, the Sinclair Broadcasting, I believe they are well off. Ring of Honor's not in any danger, but yeah, they need to do something to bring people back in. A long episode this one here, but I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. Thank you for everyone that's put the questions in this week. I really have enjoyed everyone that's got involved as well. I'm very grateful. If you want to get a question for the next time I do an episode of Ask SCW, which will be next week, then please get yourselves involved. You can leave it in the comment section on this, or you can go on Twitter, SCW Wrestling Channel. Follow me on that right now. It's of course SCW_Steve. The SCW is in capitals, and on the Steve, the S is in capitals as well. So yeah, go and follow me on there. You can do the hashtag AskSCW. I know then it's for these particular videos, and I can get involved and ask the question for you on this next time I'm here with you on YouTube. I'm hoping to get more videos as well on through the week, and make sure to keep an eye out. NXT UK, their takeover in Cardiff, I'll do a predictions video for that. I'm looking to do it for AEW's All Out as well. Of course, I know they've had a big change this week as well. Kenny Omega now going to be facing Pac, not John Moxley. So yeah, there's a lot going on, but I hope to bring all that for you in the next week. And of course, like I say, I look to give you another one of these videos as well. So plenty of reasons to be involved, and I have kind of got like an idea of another new video series that I may start. Just maybe some of the random thoughts that sometimes come in my head, maybe just might share one or two of them with you, where it's like a fantasy booking idea where I think a storyline is going on WWE programming, or you know, AEW, or wherever it happens to be. Just give my thoughts on stuff as and when I see them, and try and put them out there for you, because yeah, I mean, obviously I don't always get the chance to express some of the things I'm feeling when it comes to the questions and stuff. So if I don't get a chance to do a podcast on certain given weeks, I can still give my thoughts on stuff going on with the product. So those are ideas that I've got flowing out there. I'll try and get those out for you in the next week as well. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, spread the word of SCW. Thanks to everyone that's been subscribing as well. The subscriber count has gone up recently. Do appreciate that massively. If you are watching for the first time, like I say, do subscribe, spread the word. And yeah, make sure you get yourself involved in one of these videos. I do give you a shout out, and as well, I do also request that everyone that watches to go and follow these people on Twitter as well. They always get involved. Nice to hear from them as well in the wrestling community, and I do really appreciate it. But enough of me talking. Very much, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time here on YouTube.com, and yeah, have a good one.